The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, welcome to the Ring and All of the Sports. My name is Leo Connors, and I'm your host. And tonight I got two very special guests. Big Woody and Bare Knuckle Burley, one half of the Knucklebusters. Guys?
You're looking at 2/3 of the Knucklebusters, my brother.
Oh, that's true, too. I'm sorry about that. That's true, 2/3, as Woody is the manager of the Knucklebusters.
Well,
advocate.
I was the manager, right?
We used to call it the three-man army.
The three-man army, yeah, that's
Nice,
right.
all
We were
right.
three really good guys.
Cool. Well, we're going to get into all that, but as we talked off here, three guys that you guys all know, I even actually, they retired from independent wrestling. Wednesday night, kick-ass Kyle Storm took his boots off in the UFO ring. And then on Facebook, Sean Burke put out that he retired, and Aaron Amadeus, I guess, has called it quits too. Three good guys, good wrestlers. You guys got any take on those guys?
The only one I have a lot of experience with is Kyle. Towards my end of APW, my run at APW, he was there a lot. And I did have the opportunity to wrestle him a few times here and there. We did a tag team match with the Knucklebusters that was real fun. And we did some stuff at VCW when it was still here in Mass.
Nice.
So that's, the other two, I know of them. I've seen their work and stuff like that. But not too familiar with them. Oh, we did work a tag team match with the Knucklebusters too, with Privatera.
Yeah.
Also,
nice.
Also a VCW.
Yeah,
Nice.
him and Jack Maverick. Him and
Oh,
Jack
yeah,
Maverick.
yeah.
And, in
That's
Wakefield.
right,
Yep.
Jack.
Yeah.
Nice.
But Kyle Storm, let me just tell you, I'm going to say I was in the business 4 or 5 years when Kyle Storm really started to take wrestling by storm in New England, like no pun intended.
Right.
And let me tell you something. When it came to tough guys that could work and could defend themselves, Kyle Storm was a benchmark.
Right.
Like, make no mistake about it. That
Right.
guy could go. I can't say enough good things about Kyle Storm as a worker, and then later on, as I got to know him better as a man, he's always nothing but nice to me. I mean, really, I think wrestling needs more guys like Kyle Storm.
Right.
The tough guys that, look, wrestling's changed.
Right.
We all know it's changed.
Yep.
Kyle Storm was able to not only change with the times, but keep enough old school mentality in the business that New England wrestling's going to miss Kyle Storm.
Absolutely. So, guys, wish you nothing but the best in everything you do in life. I know Brian's going to be getting married soon. I don't know if you guys know that, but Brian, good luck in your marriage and everything. It looks like you got yourself a good girl. She's a police officer.
Oh, all the best to him.
You better be real careful, Brian, because she'll throw you in the car. He probably would like that, I think.
I'm sure he would.
I
Who
think
wouldn't?
so.
Who wouldn't?
But, all right, so let's just get right into this. Guys, how did the formation of the Knucklebusters take place?
Let's stick to our normal routine here, and you lead off and throw it to me, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, when we started APW, we got a few messages from a guy who turned out to be Bugsy Stone that just wanted to be involved in wrestling. Just wanted to be involved. Would have done anything.
Right.
He came over, took some classes with Derek Mitchell and even Luis Ortiz and some guys that kind of taught him some things. And he was working security, sweeping rings, doing whatever he could. But he had something. You know what I mean? You could just see it in him, And he was inching closer and closer to being ready to make some sort of debut. And at the time, I was doing a body slam challenge, and to me, I was getting to a point where I felt like it was time for me to walk away from being an attraction and kind of help somebody else,
Right.
So we did a thing where Bugsy was going to attempt to slam me, and he beat up the referee that was my nephew, and instantly we both became heel in the same night. And I was looking for a tag team partner for him because I knew he needed one.
Right.
He needed somebody that was young enough,
Yeah.
that could work, but could also had enough time in the ring to bring him along, because my time of bringing a guy along was, first of all, I was never the best wrestler in the world anyways. I could add to what he could do mentally, but I need somebody in the ring with him.
Right.
And I had just started booking Burley to do some APW shows, and they just seemed to look like they belonged together.
Right.
So I had got a hold of Burley, and I had, him and I were becoming friends, and I had asked him what he thought about doing it, and really, I think it was really only supposed to be for 1 year, right?
Yeah, that was the big
Yeah.
the big plan, right? It was supposed to be to get Bugsy going and kind of a launching pad for him.
Right.
And it just kind of took off, so we stuck to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were having fun too.
We had a blast. I mean,
Right.
honestly, like when we did some things together, and Burley. I had known Jason Rumble and the people from VCW for years, but I really hadn't been doing anything there, and Burley had.
Yeah, that's where I started.
Right, so that's where he pretty much got his start.
That's where I met you, I think.
And yeah, so Burley was like, "What do you think about going down there on occasion?" And I was all for it, So we started branching out and going down there too, and we started getting reception. Like we were heels, but like our walk to the ring alone was an event. And I'm not trying to be cocky about it, but
Yeah,
it
I
just
understand.
was. It just was.
Yeah.
We had the advantage of my nephew was the timekeeper in APW, and where Bugsy had beat him up, we kind of had a thing where Bugsy couldn't stand him. And it was just all, and then next thing you know, Burley's pulling him off him, and the next thing you know, it's morphing into Burley hates him too. And now just that walk to the ring, we tortured that poor kid. Burley would make him take his glasses off, and the poor kid couldn't see 3 feet in front of his face, but Burley wouldn't let him wear his glasses, and it was just out of control.
We just needed them to see the bell. That was all
Right,
we
yeah,
needed.
that's all, So just, just the ring entrance alone became an event, and
Right.
then it was really just, there was no point breaking it up. It was just so much fun, and we became like brothers. We really did. People say that all the time, but like we just had so much fun together. It was a blast.
Yeah, that's true. And I started liking helping Bugsy along.
Yep.
I mean, we became friends. I was only a couple of years in myself, so I was learning a lot from helping him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And someone who I forgot to shout out last time was Larry Huntley. Helped us a lot when we first started doing that tag team stuff.
Well,
a lot.
We were involved in that feud with him and Lumberjake. They could over big and in APW,
Yep.
and we learned those. And Larry helped him a lot, helped both of them a lot, quite a bit. He really did. He, you say what you want about the guy, and his ring wear, and he'd be the first one to tell you he's not the best classic wrestler in the world, but the guy knows how to put a match together, and he knows more than that. He knows how to shape a feud.
Yep.
He really does, and that was a big help. Matter of fact, they were instrumental in people were dying to love the Knucklebusters.
Right.
And we got to a point where we couldn't be heels any longer. There was no holding it back.
Right.
And we actually turned babyface in a match against those guys in which we both left the ring babyfaces, which is not the easiest thing to do.
Right.
And I can remember, messaging Huntley saying, "How are we going to do this?" And he had ideas, and it worked. It worked. It went.
We did the mutual respect thing, right?
Yeah,
after the first dog collar match.
Right. Yeah, we had a dog collar match with him.
Okay. So
And-
when that thing, you shook hands at the
Yeah,
end and
yeah,
hugged
yeah.
him like that?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was really good because at first you refused to shake hands because you were the one, it was all kind of set up where Bugsy was following whatever we told him to do.
Yeah.
But Burley was the strong-willed one of the bunch. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even I would have trouble with Burley. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Burley at first wouldn't shake hands, but then he did, and they just bought it like $1 million. It was a lot of fun. So.
That's awesome. So Larry was instrumental. Larry's helped a lot of people over
Yeah.
the years, I'm sure. Matter of fact, was it you that said that he gave you your trunks or boots? Somebody on this
no.
show actually said Larry
it was,
gave him something.
Who did he give?
What's that?
Oh, it was Jeff.
It was Jeff. He gave him his whole gear.
He gave him all his gear. Yeah, Jeff.
Yep.
Yeah, good guy, Larry
Jeff.
Huntley.
I miss Jeff.
I miss Jeff. Jeff was a good kid.
So you guys have worked we're at this point, APW, VCW, you've worked. Any other companies the Knucklebusters worked for?
Well, we started branching out to Maine.
Yeah, we went to
Okay.
Maine. And we had a lot of fun in Maine.
Yeah.
And we got over like $1 million in Maine.
Could you tell us a little bit about Maine, the company you worked for and stuff like that?
Well, it started out as MEW, it was Main Event Wrestling. And they kind of merged with IWE.
Yeah, but that
Eventually.
was... Well,
Towards the end of the
I'm
run.
pretty sure all our matches were MEW.
Right, but towards the end of the run, they had kind of merged,
Right.
but they were still MEW matches. You're right.
And they were putting on... remember at the beginning, they were bringing in
They brought
AJ
it-
Styles?
Our first show with AJ Styles was there.
AJ Styles. I know Robbie E. was there one time.
Yeah.
He's a New England guy anyway.
Yeah,
right?
Chris Daniels was there one night.
Christopher Daniels was there one time.
That's a Ring of Honor
they
world
were,
champion.
They were
right
putting
now.
together some big shows for a
Christopher
little while
Daniels is
there.
a great guy, too. Remember
He
him
is.
calling us aside? And,
Yep.
and talking about
Yep.
how much he loved the gimmick, but
Oh, nice.
here's what you can do and here's what you shouldn't be doing, and
Oh, wow.
we had an opponents that were the Minutemen,
Yeah.
and they were they loved them up there.
Right.
They were because they're exciting.
Yeah.
But we went up there and I'm not talking about anybody, but I think we showed the people up there what tag team wrestling can be, and
Right.
it doesn't have to be a bunch of high spots, and it's just sometimes you can just walk in the ring and beat somebody up.
Right.
And I think that was our appeal up there. You know what I mean? I think that and again, the same thing. We walked into the place heels, beat the crap out of everybody, and we were there, maybe a half a dozen times when they had to turn us face again, right?
Yeah, same thing happened up there too.
Yeah.
Now, who was the promoter up there? Who would you guys work for up there?
That was Sonny Roselli, right?
At the beginning, it was Sonny Roselli and Mark Moment.
And Mark Moment. Yeah.
Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Great. Love Mark
Me
Moment.
too. Love
Great
Mark.
guy.
He actually hits me up once in a while when he wants to cook for his girl. He'll hit me up on the messenger. Like, how do I cook this? I laugh all the time. Nice kid. But yeah, so Christopher Daniels, that's pretty awesome how he just won the Ring of Honor World title.
Yeah.
I just got tickets to the Ring of Honor show coming up. Really looking forward to. Hopefully he'll be, signing autographs. I'd love to see him again because he was on all those shows I catered for ROH back in the day.
Right.
All right. So from there, from Maine, did you work any other companies?
No, we did. We went to Showcase Pro Wrestling one night. One of my favorite stories ever, right? We were at the Showcase, and at this point, we had titles for 3 different companies,
Yeah.
and at the time, I think we had 3 at that time, right? I think.
No, because we had just finished up in Maine.
Right, we had just finished in Maine.
Yeah.
So we had the VCW and the APW tag titles. And the guy from Showcase wanted us to come down and, work with their teams, the Wrestlers.
It was Sarge that put that together for us.
Well, was it the Sarge? It
yeah.
was Sarge, you're right.
Was
Sarge.
Jim?
No,
Yep, no.
Callahan.
Oh,
John
okay.
Callahan.
Oh, John
Great
Callahan.
guy.
Yep.
Can't tell you how much I love the guy. But he wanted us to come down and work with their big tag team at the time, the Wrestlers. And we went down there and we told them that we would put them over. And it's one of the greatest things ever. And we get, to the end of the match, and we get to the point where one of them is supposed to roll Burley up to pin him. And Burley sets it up, and the kid misses the roll up. Once. So Burley sets him up again. He misses the roll up again. Right? And was it 2 or 3 times?
No, it was twice.
Twice he misses a roll up. I look over at Bugsy. I said, "This is not going to be good." And the kid goes walking towards him like he's going to let him try it for the 3rd time. And Burley kicks him right in the nuts. and the referee looks at me and says, "This is illegal." And I said, "No shit." And the ref goes, "Ring the bell," and DQ'd us. So the whole finish got changed because the kid missed the roll up twice. But I remember looking at Bugsy and I was like, "There's no way Burley's going to let him try this again."
Yeah, and at that time in my career too, I did make a point of kicking 1 or 2 people in the nuts.
Oh yeah, one occasion, yeah.
On purpose?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a go-to for me, I was a heel again, so it's fair game.
There goes one of my questions
Remember
for later.
you called that at the end of the night we finally dropped the MEW tag
That is
belts.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then you, at the end of the match, we're supposed to shake their hands because we had turned heel up there at that point again.
Yeah.
Right?
Supposed to shake their hands, and Burley calls an audible, goes to shake their hands and kicks them both right in the balls again.
I love it. That's my go-to.
I hope I can
love it.
I hope I can say those 2
Yeah, no,
words.
that's fine. If not, they'll have to put us on late at night, that's all. So, all right, so you guys have held championships in APW, VCW, anywhere else?
No.
Yeah,
we had
the MEW.
the 3 different
Oh,
titles.
that's right, I'm sorry, yeah, and up in Maine.
Yeah, the 3 different titles.
Nice. So you said you might have let's talk a little about traveling together. You guys must have a lot of laughs
Oh, gosh.
riding up and down the roads together.
We had so much fun together. Like, I can't even tell you. And it was funny, even though it was a blast, every trip was the same damn thing.
Right.
Every trip was the same thing. We would get in the car. Burley would pick me up in Seabrook, New Hampshire, and we'd go to Salisbury, which is like 5 miles away, to pick up Bugsy. Bugsy was late every time. Mm-hmm. Every time.
I started calling him like a good hour and a half.
And he'd still be late?
Yeah, and he'd still...
Then it closed the gap.
Yeah,
a
they
little
closed
bit.
the gap a little bit. Yeah, I know. Then we would go to a store.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
And Bugsy would buy candy and shit.
Bugsy would buy a bag full of
Exactly.
candy, and we would have coffee sometimes.
Yeah, most of the time it was coffee.
Yeah, and
Well, when the sun was still up.
right, and then we go get on the road, and we'd talk for a while. We'd have a good time. We'd get to the venue, but then afterwards, the same thing every time. We would go to this Subway that was down the street from where most of the shows were for that company.
Yep.
And we go and have a sub again with this kid working the counter that was the biggest moron I ever met in my life.
A career Subway
A career
employee.
Subway employee, which is fine,
right,
whatever. But this kid was not very good at being a career Subway guy,
Right.
and he was there for 2 years. And it would take us a half an hour to get our subs, and when there was nobody in the place. And then afterwards we would eat. Bugsy, there was a store attached to it. Bugsy would go to that store and he'd buy a bag of candy, again, for the ride home. And he would power down a bag of candy, and in a half an hour he'd be asleep. And it would be me and Burley the whole trip talking.
Wow.
The same thing every damn time.
I think we'd still be talking to him. He just wasn't responding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for at least.
And what, he'd just fall asleep?
Yeah,
while
he'd
you guys
just
were
fall
out
asleep.
talking?
We'd be talking to him, he'd be out cold.
Wow. Well, listen, seeing that we're making fun of him, why don't we talk a little bit about Bugsy, seeing that I've never met him, I was, hopefully maybe someday we can get him to come on.
Maybe he will.
You know,
I'm
that
sure he'd
would
love
be
to.
awesome.
I'm sure he'd love to. He's
I'd
just,
love to have him on, but
a busy guy right now.
tell me, you must have more funny stories, or just tell us a little bit about Bugsy.
You want to tell the one about the hotel? Or?
You go ahead. You tell that one.
All right. It was one of the trips up to Maine, and it was far enough where we got a hotel. We didn't usually get a hotel. We usually came right
Two or
back.
three times.
Yeah.
That was about it.
So we got a hotel. It was, Motel 6. So
That night was Motel 6.
something like that. And the place was tiny. The place was the size of this square that we're sitting in
Right.
now. So 2 beds and a cot for Bugsy. And when I say cot, I'm being generous. This thing was like 8 inches off the ground. And when it seen, what'd you say? When it seen Bugsy, it said,
When Bugsy sat on it, the thing said, "What the hell is going on here?" One at a time.
So Bugsy slept for what, like 10 minutes on that cot?
Yeah.
And then he said, screw this, I'm sleeping on the floor.
Right.
Spread it out his sheets and slept on the floor. Me and Woody got the beds because
We're the veterans. We
at least out of that group we were. Right?
right.
And what was it? Was it the middle of the night or was it up in the morning when we all got up? When we all got up at the same time.
We all get up right about like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
And then Bugsy moseys his way over to the bathroom, and all of a sudden we hear like a loud bang or something, and there's nothing in this bathroom. There's nothing that can go bang.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he comes back out, and we're like, Bugsy, what the hell? What happened? He's like, oh, I put a hole in the wall. Now, it would be funny if the hotel room wasn't on my credit card.
Right.
You know what I
We
mean?
had, Burley, we always put the hotels on his credit card. We paid him.
Right.
That's just how it was, And so Burley wasn't happy with the.
How did he do it?
I guess he was
You have to know Bugsy. Yeah.
First of all, you have to know Bugsy. Second of all, he was relieving himself, for lack of a better term. And he just stumbled back a little bit and put his heel right through it.
Wow.
If you knew Bugsy like we know him, I'm actually surprised it was the only holes in the walls, and none of it on purpose. Like he would never do anything on purpose.
No.
that.
So he had to go make friends with the
He made friends
with the lady behind the
with
counter.
the Laotian woman behind the counter. That the only 2 words she could spell it: coffee here and hello. And somehow Bugsy became friends with her. So.
No, but he lucked out because wasn't she the one that got him the cot in the first place?
Yeah, she got him the card.
So
yeah.
he just happened to make friends with her before he kicked the hole in the
Yeah.
wall.
Oh yeah.
But-
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen the size of Bugsy's feet, it was a pretty decent sized hole.
Yeah.
A small to medium sized bowling ball hole.
I know I
man.
asked both of you guys, maybe both of you or one of you guys about I was a big fan of Bugsy McGraw
That's
growing up.
That's who was.
I think it was you, Woody, that told me that.
Matter of fact, when we started APW, we had a little place down Salisbury Beach so our guys could get in a ring once in a while.
Yeah.
And Bugsy, like I said, was doing security and some different things, and he would come down, and I was watching him, and he just had that look. He just reminded me of Bugsy McGraw. So, at first he didn't like, 'cause in his head, he had a name Gary Thunder or something like that. He saw himself as the next Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember saying, and I told him I got this idea, and I want you to be like Bugsy McGraw, and he didn't like it.
Right.
Thought we were making fun of him. And I remember telling him, I was like, no, this is gangbusters. Believe me, this is good.
Yeah.
And Derek Mitchell, I think, said to him, look, try this for 6 months. If you don't like it, you can be whoever you want to be.
Right.
And I remember when 6 months was up, and I said, so what do you think? You like this one? You want to change? What? He goes, oh, no, I like this. This is good. This is fun. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he embraced it. But at first, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he had ideas of, ripping his biceps and, you know what I mean? All this
Bugsy
other-
McGraw was a great character, and he
was
and he was
awesome.
great as a heel or
Yeah,
as a
as a
face.
baby
I mean,
face,
he could play both roles. And
Yeah.
like I said, I was a huge fan of Bugsy McGraw. I was a big fan. I told you guys before when these were on, of the guys that were different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not guys you would like go to school
that
with
was
or
Bugsy.
work with. Just guys that you would look at and go, wow, that's a little messed up. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And we did. We've had some fun here, and all of it's true. We've had some fun. But let me tell you something. Like, the Knucklebusters would have never been the Knucklebusters without Bugsy. He was a huge, huge part of the appeal.
Right.
Because there was a lot of reasons to hate me and Burley. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
you couldn't not like Bugsy.
Right.
There was no way you could. You know what I mean? That's why we ended up babyface, because of Bugsy. Like, I mean, people just liked him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that whole thing where him doing whatever we told him to do just got over.
Right.
So big, you know what I mean? And people just loved him.
Right.
And I'd hit him and pull him around by the
Yeah,
shirt.
right, yeah. And-
So he was getting a lot of like sympathy from the crowd
right,
and stuff.
yeah.
I'd hold him in the corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. I mean, and like I said, they just loved him everywhere we went. Like, we would have never,
That's awesome.
what we consider success on our little level, we'd have never had that type of success without Bugsy. Bugsy was integral to all that.
That's awesome. Guys, I want to play a little game. I told you guys off air. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have a name for you. I got shoot questions. You can answer them any way you want. You can pass on them. Do it, whatever you want. You've already said that you shot on someone by kicking with your go-to move. Have you ever seen like someone really shoot on somebody in the ring, besides the one when you kick somebody in the balls?
Well, let me defend myself first of all. That was all inner thigh.
Oh, all
That was
right,
inner
okay.
thigh kicks.
Was it
Mostly,
okay.
mostly. But I think Woody's been around so much longer than me. I think he'd be way better at answering this. I'll try.
I never seen anything that was real. There was a night at an APW show where Todd Sopel was working and Mike McCarthy. It was an APW versus VCW angle, and they apparently couldn't come to an agreement on the finish. And whatever happened, Todd ended up getting McCarthy in a leg lock that got a little too real. And
wow.
McCarthy clearly was not going to submit because he didn't want to submit to Todd.
Right.
And they ended up working it out. And I've seen other little incidents like that, but I can't say, I screwed up a spot in a battle royal very early in my career, and Knuckles Nelson punched me in the mouth and then gave me a spinning back kick, which which was brutal, but like, that was normal. Like,
Right.
that wasn't anything that, he'd have done that to anybody.
Right.
That was nothing that I would consider like a brutal beating I can't say that I've ever seen anything like too out of line. You know what I
Right.
mean? I saw, on an APW show, Cousin Larry, who we talked about earlier, and the Sheik kind of had an issue in the ring, and they tried to do stuff that didn't work, and I lost my mind at intermission over it. But nothing like, never anything that I've seen that was like egregious or where somebody took advantage of somebody. I can't say that I've ever seen it,
The only thing I've ever seen is I was at a Sparta show right here in Nashua at St. Stan's Hall where Jeff Costa used to run his shows. And earlier, you seen in the back, you could see Sparta was having words with Virgil. And it got pretty heated. And then Rick Fuller's in the ring with Virgil wrestling him. And the referee got knocked out of the ring. And Rick goes over to him. And me and my son are in the second row. And I could hear Rick say to him, "Watch this." Now, the finish was going to be where Virgil's in the corner, trips him up, puts his legs on the ropes, gets the 1, 2, 3. Well, before that, Rick decides, he's going to chop him. Rick's chops are bad as it was. I'm telling you, man, he wound up harder than his regular chops. And he hit him like 3 times. And when it was over, Virgil came out of the ring, and within 60 seconds, I watched him walk out the front door with his bag.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah, look, there are 1,000 times where if somebody didn't have the right mindset, Rick Fuller could make him quit the business.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like that, it could have happened most guys understood that if Rick Fuller was chopping you like that, then you just took it like a man.
Right.
And Rick was going to be fine with you. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, Rick Fuller liked me.
Right.
He never did anything like that to me.
Yeah.
But he was always good to me. But if I knew that if I was in a battle royal, because I would have never been never a good enough wrestler to be in a singles match with Rick Fuller.
Rick's a great worker, man.
Great worker.
Yeah, I
But
understand what you're saying.
if I was in a battle royal with Rick and he was going to chop me, then you let him chop you. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
that. And then
Yeah.
you'd be thankful when he moves on to beat somebody else up. You know what I mean? That's just how it was.
Right.
You know, and that's just it. You know, it's a tough business, and sometimes people can't take it, and
Right.
that's the simple truth.
Yeah, no,
that's
you're
the
right.
simple truth. Sometimes people just can't take it.
Yeah.
You know, because and again, you know, Burley used to get a little bit of backstage. I wouldn't say heat, but people would say, well, he was a little stiff, he was a little this, he was a little that. The simple truth is that he didn't do anything that a million guys before him didn't do.
Right.
The difference
Or have done to him.
Right, or done to him.
Right.
The difference is they felt they could say something about him, not Luis Ortiz, or
Right.
they couldn't
Right.
say anything if Rick Fuller did it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, screw you. It's a tough business. And this gimmick in particular was supposed to be tough.
Yes.
And if you couldn't take it, then you didn't belong there.
You didn't belong in the
that's,
ring
and,
with them.
you know,
Yeah.
that was my response to all of it whenever anybody would say anything to me about anybody on a show that I was booking.
Right.
You know?
And as a fan, Rick's always been wicked nice to me. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've been on shows where his wife would be selling his like 8x10s, and I always would move stuff so she'd have a spot. You know what I mean? I think he appreciated that, but he always treated the kids good. All the kids, not just my kids. You just see him. Kids
Oh, yeah.
would run up to him, whether he was a heel or a face on
He's
the
a pro.
card.
He's a pro.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he was in the limited interactions I had with him. He was always real nice to me. He used to be on all of Kenny's shows in Everett.
Yeah.
You know, Kenny the Cop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he used to be at every single show Rick Fuller was on. And that was only a couple of years after WCW. So
Right.
he was still a real big star
Oh,
in
yeah.
this area.
Right. Were you on that show when it was Cronus versus New Jack? One of those shows?
No,
Wow.
that was a little bit before me.
That was
a little bit before me.
crazy, man. You want to talk about a bloody night? They both were like profusely. It was crazy. Seriously.
There used to be some crazy shows at that.
yeah.
The rec center and
Yeah.
everything.
They were real
I
good
never
shows.
there, but
too.
I
They
heard
were
about
good
them.
shows.
Yep.
Killer was always there. I remember one time there was a piece of string hanging from something, and it was I don't remember who was in the ring, but it was probably not a very good match. Killer walked up to the rope, pointed to the ring, and grabbed the rope like he was gonna hang himself. Another guy though that was like nice to everybody, man. Like
Killer? Yeah.
Just when you'd go to a show and you'd see him there, he just was so nice. You know, what a great guy compared to what he was like in the ring, man, back in the day.
When I was a little kid, I can remember him wrestling Pedro Morales for the WWF title and being scared to death of him.
Oh yeah,
Scared to death of him.
definitely. Great guy. Locker room issues. You seen any?
Well, I've seen a lot of locker room issues, but we're APW, like when I was running, and I'm sure it's the same now because that was a locker room where if there was an issue, you either got along or you left.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
And that's the truth. But I've seen it in a lot of locker rooms. A problem is, right, and here's the simple truth, right? Too many people that are running shows are letting guys run their locker room.
Right.
That's the truth. If you let the inmates run the asylum, they will.
Right.
And that's, I'm not talking bad about the talent because
Yep.
the truth is, the talent wants to be led. They want to know where the boundaries are, and they're fine when you let them know, look, you don't do this, you do this, you do this, you don't do this. Other than that, have a good time.
Right.
And that's what they want, and too many guys let people run their locker room for them, and it's bad for everyone.
Right.
It really is.
Yep. No, I hear you.
And yeah, I mean, we had, again, and I'm not picking on Todd because Todd's a good friend of mine, but Todd and Bo Douglas had an issue in an APW locker room. And, once we got wind of it, that was it, and I wasn't the only one. Joe Moakley, and I talked and it's like, I'm going to straighten this out now. And I basically told him, look, I can find 30 guys I can get along for 3 hours.
Right.
You can't get along with this guy? Leave. No problem. We're fine.
Yep.
And it has to be that way.
Right.
It just has to.
Yeah, and that's great. It's good for you guys. Good for the locker room and everything.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And to their credit, right?
Yep.
They both, after that one flare-up, they were on a bunch of shows together, and they worked together. I don't know that they actually worked in a match together, but like always, you bounce ideas around, and they helped each other out to their credit. They're both pros.
Right.
They may not like each other, but they got along when they needed to get along, and they worked for the betterment of the show.
Yeah. And personally, I like them both.
I don't have a problem either one.
I think Todd's a great guy. Actually, I got to hit him up, see if he wants to come back on. We'll just stay away from that one subject.
Yeah, well,
That's
there's
all.
a couple of touchy subjects
That's all.
with Todd.
How about the craziest thing you've ever seen around the wrestling business?
Crazy how?
Anything. Anything.
I mean, I'd say it's a lot of the stuff that we were just discussing there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
When Evan broke Jeff's nose that night and told him he was gonna.
You know what? I got an Evan story that's pretty crazy. All right.
All right.
Tell it.
What about Evan's APW debut? He showed up in an ambulance.
Oh yeah. Well, he went down and filmed something in the ambulance.
Yeah, but we didn't know that. We just
Well,
knew he
I
showed
knew
up
it,
in
but
the
yeah,
ambulance.
nobody else knew it. Yeah.
I was like, who paid for this?
Yeah, nobody else knew it. We were filming we were starting an angle involving Brandon Webb.
Yep.
Oh goodness, Ginger's brother,
Yeah, Silence.
Justin Silence, and eventually Evan Six.
Yep.
Yep.
And we had to film something where Justin Silence was being reborn as this new character, Silent Haze. And it was kind of a takeoff from the old Kevin Sullivan stuff in Florida with
Okay.
Purple Haze.
Yep.
And he was going to come walking up out of the water, and it was like February. It was like freezing cold, and I made him go down there. And at the time, I was pretty sick. So I asked Evan, it was his first show with APW, and I know Evan had been around forever.
Right.
I was like, I need you to go supervise this vignette that we're shooting for this. And so him and Ed Hunt,
Yep.
who is, got a lot to do with APW now and did then too.
coming
in a
on
different-
soon.
Right,
Coming
and
up
did
a
it in a
couple
different
weeks.
way. They went down and Evan kind of supervised the vignette, but nobody really knew he was going to be there, and they had to have an ambulance bring him there because it was so cold that they needed the thermal blankets and all that stuff so we could get him warm immediately after coming out of that water in
Yeah.
February. So they took an ambulance down there from the Newbury Fire Hall, which where we were running our show. So Evan actually showed up for the show in an ambulance.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool deal,
And this was just in the locker room.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the locker room was the garage where they keep the fire trucks and
Right,
whatnot.
yeah.
So, it's February, like you said, and the garage door opens, everyone's like, what the hell's going on? And there comes Evan Six popping out of the back of an ambulance.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know if that was crazy, but it was pretty damn cool.
That is pretty cool.
But actually, I got one pretty cool locker room. This is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Back to the Knucklebuster stuff, and then we can go back to whatever you want to talk about. And we kind of forgot to tell you this one. When we were on the road with the Knucklebusters, and it was that time when Bugsy poked the hole in the wall. There was a lot of long rides in Maine. We went to Island
Right.
Falls and 5.5-hour trips, and
Wow.
we had enough.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just had enough. And Burley says to me right before we were doing 2 or 3 shots over the course of a weekend up there. And it was the last day of it, and Burley says, look, you got to go in and tell this guy we're done. We're going to drop the belts tonight. We're done. We're going to get out of here. We need to just stay in Massachusetts. We can't do this anymore. And it was the winter time, and it was just a hard deal,
Yep.
So I said, yeah, okay. So we're there early, and we always get there early. And the promoter, Sonny, shows up into the locker room, and I said to Burley, look, I got to go up to the ring for a minute. I'll be right back to tell Sonny we're dropping the belts tonight, and we're out of here. Burley says, okay, I'll make sure you do that. And I said, yeah. So I go out to the ring and do whatever the hell it is I got to do. And I come back, and Burley's got this look on his face like this. And I said, what? He goes, we got to do 3 more shots before we drop the belts.
He talked you into it?
You know what the funny part is that he just he started talking, and I was like, I think it does make sense to do 3 more.
Yeah.
So
Obviously, you guys like Sonny.
I think I talked
well,
myself.
Sonny's
You
great.
know?
Sonny's great.
Right, because if you didn't like him, he definitely would have been like, no.
Sonny was very agreeable to anything we
Right.
ever wanted to do.
Nice.
I mean, anything, but he knew that we had what was best for what we were doing up there at heart.
Right.
We weren't into just getting the knuckle bust. We were already over up
Right.
there. You know
You
what I
were
mean?
you wanted to help his company.
It was time for us to drop his belts to whoever he wanted. We wanted to get them over properly.
Right. That's
And,
awesome.
and the 3 shows was the right thing to do. It really was.
Who'd you guys end up dropping him to, if you remember?
To Sonny and John Breyer.
Oh, nice. Cool.
We did that hardcore match. At that.
We did a hardcore match in a bar room.
Yeah. It was a hotel, but
It was a hotel. but
Hotel
yeah.
bar room. Hotel bar?
so it was like the function hall was attached to the bar.
Right.
Okay.
And that's where the ring was set up. The place was
Right.
tiny.
Yeah.
Very
real
small.
tiny.
Right.
And we got there, and one of the things I would do was go check out the locker room because, me, Bugsy, and Woody take up a good amount of room, you know what I mean? So I would go scope it out and try to find us a good spot, you know what I mean? So I walked my way back there. Woody's still saying his hellos and everything. And I come back, and I said, you're not going to like it. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, it's way too tiny. It's 2 chairs in a corner. And he's like, we ain't going back there. He's like, we're not going back there. I'm going to talk to Sonny. So he talks to Sonny, and he says, Sonny, I think it would be really cool if, we're doing that hardcore match. We were going to close out the night anyway. Why don't the Knucklebusters come straight through the bar door for the match?
We'll hang around in the bar all night.
Right.
Which gave us a little elbow room that we needed, right?
Right.
So, and it was pretty cool. I mean, we weren't just sitting there getting tanked. We had
We
had one or two
gave
beers.
the illusion
Right. That
we were getting just pounding beers all night.
Right.
We always had a half or 3/4 of a beer in front of us, but
Yep.
for the most part, we were drinking Cokes or waters or
Yep.
whatever. But
Yep.
everybody, as they were coming in, filing in, or going out to get their own
You'd,
drink,
like, holding
they
it.
would hold.
Yeah.
They thought we were getting hammered all night long.
Yeah.
Right.
So then we went in there and we had the hardcore match, and it was, I mean, for a hardcore match, it was one of the easiest matches we ever did.
It was easy,
Those
but we
guys were
tore
so
the
easy-
house down.
So easy to work with those
Right.
guys.
I've heard from guys that do the hardcore matches a lot that they're easier than regular matches sometimes. Seriously.
Yep.
I asked Sammy Callahan that at a Tommy Dreamer, the House of Hardcore show that I catered, and he said they're easy. He goes, it's just, you're whacking people with weapons. He goes, it's just so much easier than
Yeah.
trying to put together a technical match.
Yeah, and us being heels at work too, because
Right.
there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun.
I can't tell you how much fun we had.
Needless
up
to
there.
say.
Nice.
And we got to see Rumble every time we would go up.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
Jason,
always
yeah.
Because he
which
was
is
already
always-
living there at that
Yeah,
point.
Which is
so.
always a treat, 'cause-
Yeah.
And he liked us too, and it's not a knock on what was up there, but they used a lot of guys that didn't have a lot of experience.
Right.
So when we would run into him and he'd run into us, we all knew each other from down here.
Yep.
So it was somebody to talk to and somebody to hang out with, and you know what I mean. We had a great time with him.
Yeah, Jay's a great guy. He's done a lot in this business, too. I mean, when he had that NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship run,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he held it, 3 times?
Yeah.
Yep.
Had some big matches. I remember he went to Texas one time and took on, I think when he won the title one time, Rocky Reynolds. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but
Yeah.
I know who he is.
yeah, but I've seen a few matches. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but he's a pretty good worker.
I've heard Jay tell the story a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he
I
wasn't
can
like-
imagine. Yeah, I just see. I saw.
I was working down there with Rocky Reynolds in Texas.
You sound just like.
You right, Burley, huh?
I just saw him Wednesday night. It was awesome to see him. He's telling me how his daughter's so into hoop. His son already likes hoop. His son's only like a year and a half.
Good.
And he's telling me how good his daughter's doing in hoop. And I told him, I said, it's in the genes, man. She's an athlete like Jay.
Yeah.
Great guy. Guys, we get under 20 minutes. Any other Knucklebuster stuff before we move on to the name game?
No, I think
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
good.
So let's play the name game.
Okay.
My old co-host, who didn't tell me he was moving to Florida,
You made out good on the deal.
Derek Dukes.
Derek Dukes, we met him through VCW, right?
Yeah, well, I met him long before that, but
Well, I met him through VCW. And, much to Woody's chagrin, he was a stand-in manager for the Knucklebusters whenever Woody could.
was I hot about that one?
He did tell me that he remember
Yep.
when you were on, he said,
yeah.
he said that he managed you guys once or twice?
If I was him, I would have said twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
So that's Derek Dukes. I mean,
Yeah.
You got anything to add?
I don't.
You know
I don't-
what?
I
Look-
don't think I know him well enough to say anything bad about him.
I don't
Right.
know. I'm not here to bash Derek
Right.
Dukes, right? But, Derek Dukes, let's put it this way. Derek Dukes' first ever match in a ring, was in APW, no matter what, Derek Dukes did a lot of nice things for the guys that worked at ECW and was there for all of it. And there's no need to embellish any of it. You know what I mean? Like, he was there.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no need to embellish it. But the simple truth is, he never had a match until he was at APW, and that was what, I'm going to say 4 years ago. It's true.
Right.
And I'm not knocking the guy. And,
Yep.
and the truth is, I would never tell this story, right? If he didn't tell 3 people that I'm very good friends with that he had some bad stuff to say about Big Woody. Big Woody!
Big Woody's always been a nice guy to me. I don't know.
I was always nice to him too, but for
Right.
whatever reason, he's got an axe to grind, and I don't really care. I'm fine. You know what I mean? I can
Right.
honestly, and this is the truth, like I can honestly go home every night and say that whether you got an issue with me or not, everybody that ever worked for me when I was the booker did the best they could for him.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. And I've heard nothing but that.
You know,
You've always been
and-
nice to me as
and-
long as I've known you. Will.
And I don't worry about it.
Yep.
I really don't. But
Right.
like Derek has done enough things and been around enough places where all that alone is enough to brag about.
Right. Because I told you guys off air when I went to Philly that time and we went to the icons of pro wrestling and stuff. I got to meet Stan Hansen and Mil Mascaris and a bunch of guys. Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. They all knew him.
Yeah.
They all knew him. They all liked him, and it was nice. I was so glad I brought him. You know what I mean? Because my girl didn't want to take the 6-hour drive, and I needed a partner to go
I
with.
have no idea why.
And I'll tell you, Derek stepped right in, and we had a friggin' blast, and we had a good time. Derek was always good to me. You know what I mean? I love you, kid. We're gonna move on. You talked about a guy that punched you in the face and gave you a spinning back kick.
Yeah.
Knuckles Nelson.
That's cool, though. You know what, Knuckles, I wouldn't be here without him.
Right?
He did a lot for me, He had a little issue with Burley, but
What happened?
anyway,
We all should have seen that coming. Is what.
yeah,
What it should have been.
the truth be told, he came up at a different time, right?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah.
And him and Jason Rumble had a big issue, right?
First of all,
First of all, that and a
Yeah.
big issue.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't know who's right, who's wrong. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
both felt like they had an issue, you
Right.
know? And when we started running APW, Knuckles came in to do TV for us, and he was great at it.
when
Right.
it was still WSW.
When it was still, he allowed us to use the Wrestling Star Wars name at that
nice.
time. And he was great at it.
Yeah.
I mean, great at it. And he didn't like us using a guy by the name of Bare Knuckle, because his name was Knuckles Nelson. And in retrospect, after talking to him, what he felt should have been done was if we were going to use a guy named Bare Knuckle, it should have been somehow tied into him as far as being with me in a feud against him.
Right.
And somehow.
Yep.
So, and I think, honestly, if it was all articulated a little bit better and we had all gotten together, a lot of it could have been avoided.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I walked in blind to the whole
Right,
thing.
he knew nothing of it,
I
and
showed
he went right up and
I
said,
showed up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed my first day of APW, all excited to get on board. You know what I mean? And Knuckles Nelson was was one of the announcers.
Right.
So he's doing his job. He comes up and wants to know who trained me,
Yep.
what my name is, and a little bit about me. So he says he's got his little pad, and he's looking down on his pad, and he said, "Who trained you?" And I said, "Jason Rumble." And he looks up at me.
That was the first one, right?
And looks back down at his pad. And then he said, all right, what's your work name? And I said, it's Bare Knuckle Burley. And he looks up at me. And he looks back down at his pad. And he didn't even get to the third one. He just-
Really?
yeah, that was it.
all
Yeah.
right, thank you. So for that night, I had a different name, and my name was Bear Burley.
Bear Burley, yeah. I was doing commentary with him that night, and it's still me being dumb. Never occurred to me why he was calling him Bear Burley.
Right.
And I know I said Bare Knuckle Burley like 6 times because it was his debut.
Yeah.
So it just.
He said, he goes, I don't know where this kid came from, but Bear Burley.
Right. And, it was truth be told, if I could do it all over again,
You would have tied them in
I would have
together.
had more experience.
Yeah.
And to know, look, hey, Knuckles, Bare Knuckle Burley, good guy.
Yeah.
We're going to do something with him with a knuckle. And he'd have been fine.
Right.
He'd have been absolutely fine with it.
Right.
He would have embraced it.
Yeah.
And he would have said, hey, how
He
can I
might have
help
even,
you?
he might have even wanted to get involved in it
Yeah,
somehow.
he would have.
Right.
He would have helped out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of, truth be told, all of it was kind of my fault because it never didn't click into my head that look, if he had called somebody Big Woody or Woody something or other in the Wrestling Star Wars, the original Wrestling Star
Yeah.
Wars days, I might have been hot about it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd have been like, what the hell are you calling? What do you mean Woody?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Well, like you said, too, he came up in a different time.
and it was a different time.
A different time and a hell of a worker.
Oh, phew.
No doubt. Why don't we talk about his tag team partner,
Eric Sprague?
Eric Sprague,
Wow.
who I've been interacting during Bruins games.
Mr. Intensity. And he was all of that, man.
Unreal, man.
Oh.
Seriously, those guys were phenomenal tag team, man.
They
phenomenal.
left broken bones all over New England.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Man. They were seriously what the Knucklebusters wanted to be. Well, really,
Right.
and I'm not,
Right.
What we aspired to be.
what we aspired to be. And I don't
Yeah.
mean that like we weren't great, we weren't good, but they
We weren't great. We were all right.
We were all right. We were all right. But they
Don't sell
were-
yourself
No,
short,
no,
guys.
no. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. We weren't great.
No.
But we gave this illusion
Yeah.
of being tough guys.
Right.
Well, they were it.
Yep. Yep.
They were it.
That's
That's
it.
the truth.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were
There's
it.
no doubt about it.
They-
No doubt. I actually asked Eric. We were going back and forth, like commenting on to each other's Bruins posts. So I messaged him and asked him if I can get him and Knuckles on. He's like, I can ask him.
That'd be a hell of a
So
I could probably mention it to Knuckles.
do it for me. Just tell him then, like, Woody, if you do it right, and then like let me know, and I'll send him a message afterwards.
Okay.
You know,
'cause
I'd
I know
love to get them guys
He
on.
saw the first show that I was on when we talked
Yep.
about him. He enjoyed
I'd
it.
love to have
And he
him
watched
on.
the
Really.
one, and I think he watched the one that Malonis was on too.
Because I'll tell you, man, I'd love to have those guys. I was huge fans,
Oh,
especially
that's
that NWA New England back then. Unbelievable.
And when they
the
had-
Tony
and-
shows were 1,000 people sometimes.
And they were the last great NWA tag
Yes.
team champions.
Yes, they
really
were.
were.
Yeah, they were.
They were fantastic.
Absolute big guys too.
Yeah.
I remember when Eric first started, he was on the thinner side.
The
And as
Miami
years
Kid.
went on,
Eric,
he just
the Miami Kid. I remember, buddy.
was that. What, he was the Miami Kid.
Yeah, he was like
Oh, no kidding,
120
yeah.
pounds.
That's what I'm saying. Because he was
he's
very.
not gonna like
he was,
this at all.
He was very no, but he was very thin. But as years went on, he got. I mean, he's huge.
Oh, he's
a
not gonna be
big
happy
guy
about
now.
This Miami Kid thing.
No, he's not gonna like
No,
it.
he won't be mad. I'm only kidding. He won't be mad.
I know he wasn't happy about the Bruins loss yesterday.
No,
Neither was
I'm
I.
pretty sure
but at
that-
least the Celtics won. I'm trying to go through names that we didn't talk about when you guys were on. We got another 10 minutes. Maverick Wild.
Oh,
You guys
man.
know Mav?
You want to start?
I had a few interactions with him coming up. I never got the chance to work with him.
Yep.
But he's one of those guys that he always had a word of advice for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the few interactions I did have with him.
Yep.
And especially again towards the end of my APW run there, he was coming and helping
Yeah.
out in the back and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And I at that point I knew that he was the guy that you want to go ask, so I would go and ask him a few things.
Right.
Maverick Wild, when I decided to be done with wrestling, at least, because you never say never in wrestling.
Right.
But gave me the best compliment of anybody. And he told me that I'm the most genuine guy he ever met in
Nice.
professional wrestling. And that meant, those words from him meant more to me, because when you talk about the real deal,
Yep.
Maverick Wild is the real deal.
No doubt.
I mean, there's a guy that could work his ass off.
Yes.
Nobody better prepared, but again, never took himself too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I can't, just a wealth of knowledge, could work with anybody, you know, and unfortunately, he's one of those guys that did so much and banged himself up so much that he's right, as of now, he's not wrestling anymore.
Yeah, he has a couple years now, right?
And
He
yeah,
hasn't wrestled?
one of his last handful of matches was an APW, and it's one of the things that I'm happiest about, that I got a chance to book him once. And
Right.
I know he wrestled a few matches after that, you know, but it wasn't long lived.
It's another guy I'd like to get on because I went to a lot. Living in Nashua, even when I lived in Lowell, going to the Jeff's shows, Mav was a mainstay on his shows, always in the main events and stuff like that. Great worker. Seeing we were talking about NWA New England just a minute ago, how about Jay Gillette? I've never asked anybody about Jay.
I've been around Jay Gillette for years. When I first started NWA New England, he was really up and coming.
Yeah.
And then Wrestling Star Wars, he was a Wrestling Star Wars champ for a while. And when we started APW, he was one of the three guys. There was him, Luis Ortiz, and a couple other guys we'd bring in, Mark Moment, that
Yep.
were kind of considered your upper echelon guys that we would bring in to kind of filter in to work with the younger guys.
Right.
And Jay was fantastic to work with, easy to work with. I can't say, he was, again, when I first started, he was 3 or 4 years into the business, and he was always very helpful to me. And
Nice.
to this day, I know if I get a hold of Jay and said, look, I need this or this, Jay would do everything he could to help me,
We did that show for him, the Knucklebusters Wrestling.
Yeah, he ran a show.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Where was that? Do you remember?
Was it a high school, middle school,
It
something
was
like that?
it was in Worcester area, I know that.
I remember we walked in and he said, "You guys are the champions."
Oh, yeah, so that was another tag belts we had, yeah. Yeah, he brought us there because, again, we kind of were getting this name.
Yep.
And he wanted to put his tag belts on a couple other guys.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so he brought us in, and
So he said, "You guys are champions tonight." We said, "Okay, I guess."
and Donnie Rotten's wife almost knocked me unconscious.
oh yeah,
remember that?
She slapped you, right?
I told her to slap me. I said, and she had never really done a whole lot.
Right.
And I said, if you're going to hit me, hit me. Like, I don't want it to
Right.
still look bad.
Yeah.
Right? I said, just slap me hard. Don't worry. I don't want to hit you hard. I was like, hit me.
Right.
Like she hit me with a palm strike right on the button. I saw stars. If I wasn't so big, I'd have been out. And it happened so fast. Remember, you thought I missed the spot?
Well, what happened was I got knocked out in that match too. You remember?
Yeah, right.
Me and Donnie clunked heads.
Yeah.
And I was gimmicked from the eyebrow.
Yeah, so he was kind of out cold when I got knocked like half unconscious, and he thought I missed the spot that was supposed to lead to the end. And he says, and we used to break kayfabe all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and he said, what's going on? What are you gonna do? And I said, I just did it, and I'm yelling at him.
I think it was Woody. What the f?
Yeah, what the f?
And it was I already effing did it.
Yeah, because like we would fight like cats and dogs at a show,
Yeah.
but like it was always, it was cool.
That's awesome. I said one name, and I took two off the list because Donnie was down the line.
Donnie was an
That's
incredible
awesome.
worker, by the way.
Well,
When he was young, anyways.
Seeing we said Donnie, I'm going to skip a bunch of names right now and go to a guy that's going to be on the show September 4th, and you have absolutely no idea how excited I am. I didn't tell you guys that he's coming on. Brickhouse Baker.
Oh, nice.
Wow, Brickhouse.
Pump, dude. Seriously. Want to talk a little about Brick?
You know him better than I do, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I've interacted with him a bunch of times, and when we were looking to leave Maine and just start doing more Massachusetts stuff, it was something that we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Was how great it would have been to do something with his two sons and him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With a Knucklebusters.
With a Knucklebusters.
That
would have been
And
incredible.
on our level in our area, that would have been like printing money.
It would have been huge. Yeah, we'd have done really well with that, like you said, in our, but just
Well,
whatever
doesn't he
reason.
have
it
a
never
company that maybe it could still be done?
Well, maybe you never know. Like I
Maybe
said.
if I can pull Bugsy out of the woods.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we get Bugsy
that'd
Boy
be
from
pretty
Bear
cool.
Creek. It'd be pretty.
You know, I'm definitely going to be. I'm gonna hopefully, for him, showcase his promotion and stuff. I'm gonna start watching a lot of his stuff because he's got House of Bricks TV right now. It's all on YouTube and
Oh, good
stuff.
for
So
him.
that'll be pretty cool. How about Trooper Gilmore?
Oh, jeez.
Jimmy.
I saw more Trooper Gilmore than I did the Crazy Chainsaw guy.
Right.
And Trooper, man, he was something. He's
coming
a
back.
character. Yeah, I heard
What he's
something
saying?
about
He's
that.
coming back.
He's a real character.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hey, you know what? The guy got carved up by Abdullah the Butcher. I don't know how many times,
Right.
and he thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened. He did, man. He thought it was the best thing ever. You couldn't convince him that.
Low life
that's,
Louis Ramos. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's out in the New York area. He same thing with him, man. He got carved up by Abby, and it's the greatest thing in the
Oh,
world
yeah.
to him,
And he does
I'm a
real well.
huge Abby fan, so if he carved
Yeah,
me
me
up, I'd
too.
be happy too.
And Troop does real well with those shows that he puts on.
Yeah, he
Yes.
does.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
he really
yeah.
does. Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
Not a knock on him at
Yeah.
all.
No, I know
but-
that. Yep,
You-
absolutely.
you can
Great
tell,
guy.
You can tell he spares no expense too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Always putting money into it.
Yeah. He brings in Cahagas. He's actually his next show, if I'm not mistaken, he's bringing on the King of New York, EC Negro.
Oh, cool.
Nice guy. I don't know if you guys know it.
I don't know him at
but
all.
I've met him a few times. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I just see the promotion he does and stuff. You could tell he goes above and beyond.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. How about do you remember Wacko? Tommy.
First guy I ever managed.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he probably wasn't a big fan of me.
No.
Not personally. Like,
Right.
but he went from having Bull Montana manage him, and Bull, Bull is Tony's Rumble's one of his best buddies.
Right.
If not his best friend.
Yep.
And they had a nice little thing going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when Tony died and I became a manager there, they kind of just threw me with him, and I don't think he didn't go out of his way to like hurt me
Right.
but he didn't go out of his way to help me either.
Right,
You know,
right.
and it just didn't click. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was much happier with Bull. And
Right.
and in those days in particular, like when you were a manager, you didn't really have any choice. You did whatever they told you to do. You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
I had to go from having Bull as my manager to having you as my manager.
Yeah, so you understand exactly what he went
I
through.
know exactly what he went through. You know?
How about let me see, Tony Ulysses.
Love Tony Ulysses. Great guy. I mean, I remember seeing him way back in the Bedlam from Boston days.
Right.
Great guy, easy to work with. He was in APW for a handful of times, you know what I mean, to manage. Who did he manage?
Moulet and Dan Terry.
No, not Moulet. Dan Terry and Vern Vocalo.
Ah.
Right,
But he managed
in,
Moulet
in,
and
in,
yeah.
in the Knucklebusters era, he was
Yeah.
was
Okay.
Moulet and
yeah,
Dan Terry.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
And but easy to work with, great guy, and no, you won't find anybody more knowledgeable.
Been around a long time,
Been around
too.
forever, nice guy. I've
Yeah.
had several. It just was one of those things where he had dates in other areas.
Yep.
And it just kind of felt like one of the times he couldn't be there is when his team won our titles. So it was kind of like, well, if you don't need him for that, why?
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It was never anything with him. He did a fantastic job.
He did a
and
great
helped him
job
out,
with,
you know.
Yeah, he did a great job with the Crown Jewels too in the NECW. There.
Oh, yeah.
Jason and
Yep.
Damon.
Yeah, that's one of
that
my
was
favorite,
a great
one of my favorite
gimmick.
tag teams from the area.
That was a great gimmick.
Yep.
Yep.
We're running out of time, but I'd like to bring up two guys. They were a tag team, the Millennium Killers, Gino Martino and the late great Anthony Rufo, Ali Muhammad. I was going to call him Muhammad Ali.
They both great guys. Gino helped me so much. They were instrumental back in the original Wrestling Star Wars days. I helped getting my Body Slam Challenge thing over.
Nice.
Both of them with a thing with Brian Day. I can't say enough good things about him. You probably want to talk about him too. So
Gino, when I first started out, Gino would message me, and he had absolutely no reason to at all. And
Really?
he would have words of advice.
Yep.
He was a really, really great guy to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really great guys. Well, and Anthony?
Anthony, like I said, he was, instrumental in helping getting that thing over. And I can't say I had as much interaction with Anthony as I did Gino, but I certainly don't have anything bad to say about the guy. You know what I mean? He was nice to me, and he helped me out as much as he could.
Right.
So
One guy, we'll go with one more guy, and then we got to wrap this up. Ripper Morrison, local guy right around here.
Rip,
Nashua.
The only time I really was around Rip was when he was working at Champs Arena in Salisbury Beach, and I was just a fan.
Right.
But as a fan approaching him, very nice man. I can't say that I know him other than that.
Yeah, I just know from YouTube what I saw and stuff
Right.
like that.
I know Rip a little bit, and he's always been a super stand-up guy. He did a lot for Jeff and his shows and stuff up here in Nashua, and I know he wrestled all over New England.
Great guy.
Great guy. Guys, listen, it was great having you on. We're gonna have to do a third.
I'd love to.
Seriously, we'll do it again. We'll set up something soon, and we'll get you back in here.
Awesome.
So, guys, thank you, Woody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bare Knuckle Burley. Guys, that's it. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.